Whether you're new or you've been building dashboards for years, it can be a time-consuming process, but there are shortcuts to help save you time and get out better-looking dashboards faster. I know there's Team Mouse and Team Keyboard, but we're talking about keyboards specifically on Windows desktop. I will put in the Mac equivalents on the screen so that you can still follow along. And some of these will work across like Tableau Server, Tableau Cloud, but you're gonna wanna double check on that. Worst case, save a file and then start experimenting to see what's available for you. So I use my right hand mouse and my left hand is on the left hand side of the keyboard. So even if I'm given an option on the right and the left, I am choosing the left. Tableau has a lot of built-in functions that also offer shortcuts. Now, if you are ever curious, as you're going through different menu items and things like that, they actually identify whenever you can use a shortcut inside of the menu. And because I've been using Tableau for years, I tend to like gloss over it, but I've gotten to the point where I am looking for ways to get faster. And so I'm looking for the menu items that I might be able to use. So when you hover over like Control plus D, the CTRL plus D will get you a new data source window to pop up. And Control V, just like in other software, is also an option. And so as you go through the window, you have like a host of options that are identified here. And some of them aren't as obvious. Now, the cool thing is that there is a lot of overlap between things like Microsoft products and what you're gonna see here available to you in Tableau. Here's an example of that. The CTRL Control plus M will get you a new worksheet. Just like when you're in PowerPoint, you can get a new slide by doing the same thing. And when you're in Excel, and you can do the control and the page up and page down, that still functions here too. But remember, I like to stick my left hand on the left side of the keyboard. So if when I hit CTRL plus tab, I'm doing the same function, but staying on the same side of the keyboard. Now to go backwards, Control Shift and Tab will do that. So let go, and I go forward, add it, go back. Control S is a save, real fast, and I like to do that right now. I'm on a save as because I'm on a read-only version of Superstore, and I'm not keen to do it right now, but like Alt and F4 will close the current active window. And when I say active window, it's whatever window is up, like the last one that you clicked on is the one that's gonna get that action taken on it. So you wanna make sure that you're on the right document that you're expecting. And when I hit Control and F, that brings me over to the search bar through the list of dimensions and measures. Cut, copy, paste, and my favorite is undo with the Control Z. So I work in an industry where a lot of my colleagues really love Excel, and I was surprised that there were a good number of them that weren't aware of hitting the CTRL and then making selections through a list. And so this isn't just for Tableau, like this is for other software as well. And then you now have them bunched up and you can add them and do what you'd like. Don't want to in this situation. And then along the same line, you can click on one, and then let's say I want to grab all of these for whatever reason, hold down the Shift key and then click on that last, and now you've got a group of them. Oh, I forgot, I wanted to really go through ship status, and I've still held down the Shift and grabbed it, and so now we have a group of them so that we can use them. Oh, and don't forget, Control A will do a select all, and in this case it's selecting all the data points. And these are things that you can use in other products, so maybe you walked away with some ideas for next time you're working in Microsoft PowerPoint or something. We lift each other up around here, so if you have a nifty trick up your sleeve, don't gatekeep that nugget of goodness. Comment below because you're gonna help all of us out. Some really cool things. I'm going to take out the date component to this specific worksheet, and so now I have some bar charts, and let's say I quickly want to change them. Let's say I want to swap out those rows and columns pretty quickly. That's the CTRL and W, and now we've got vertical bar charts to look at. So now let's say I want to flip the column labels at the bottom of the view. I can't really keep my hands on the mouse on this one on sticking the left side of the keyboard, but it's CTRL plus L. And now we have turned them so that they are vertical instead. So undo that with a Control Z, and we're back to the normal view here. Right now, I'm gonna do this really cool magic trick that I feel like I only use when I'm in some moment of Tableau rage for whatever reason. We've got stuff in the columns and rows. We have stuff over in the marks area. We have stuff in the filters area. Now magic trick, watch. Alt, Shift, and Backspace. and the whole thing is gone. Like, it didn't add a sheet. There's no trick to the eyes. Performance sheet is now absolutely cleared. I don't really find that I want to use this one a whole lot, but there are moments when I'm like, okay, never mind. And yes, delete, start a new sheet, whatever. But there's something a little bit satisfying in like clearing it all in a rage moment. So you can also use shortcuts in order to change the size of what you're looking at on screen. And of course you can, drag and get some nuances here, but sometimes it's just nice to let Tableau like just do a sweep and then you can, go from there. First off, we're gonna start with making a cell size smaller. Control B. You would think it'd be like Control B for bigger or something, but no, it's Control B to make the cell smaller. And I just did Control Undo, but actually another option would be if I wanted to make one bigger. So at this point, because I hit Control B, we're gonna make it smaller. So I went twice, where I've now made it smaller by 2 times. You can do Control Shift and B, which now I gotta stretch my hands like crazy, and now we're making it bigger. So kind of keep going as much as we want here, and it's elongating horizontally here. You can make things more narrow by going Control and then left arrow. So it's very similar, but it's a much more aggressive, making them smaller. And Control right arrow will do the same thing. I don't use this one as much because my hand's usually on the mouse, but it's still kind of nice to know if I want a bigger sweep here because, it's not that big of a deal. If I want to make a column shorter, then those arrow keys are going to come in handy where I use the Control and down and up. So now they're getting taller. Now they've gotten just shorter. And now let's go do some work on a dashboard specifically. If you want to toggle the grid off, this can be super handy when you're trying to like really fine tune where things are. The letter G will do this so that you end up with something that looks like graph paper. Real quick. And then if you want to toggle between the dashboard and the layout tab, it's T. And so that's moving this one here back and forth by hitting the T. And all I use it for, it's almost like I've grabbed my mouse and I hit T and then it's basically where I want it by the time I get there. So it flows better than what it sounds like right now. But T will get that for you. Keyboard shortcuts definitely add up to save you time, especially as you get used to using them. But I've got some tips and tricks to speed up building a dashboard regardless of these shortcuts in this video.